All right, so we got a throwing 101 video here where we'll just talk about the basics of throwing the baseball. Um, again, a lot of what we're doing at practice is trying to break it down into building proper mechanics that will serve the kids well as they get older and they're building upon good fundamental mechanics. So beyond just getting in practice and doing a throwing routine where we're just throwing and we're not doing any kind of explanation about how to throw, we don't want to do that. We want to basically give some simple ideas on how to throw the ball effectively so that they can work on those things, and we can, work on those things, practice in and practice out as we're going through our warm up and our throwing routine before we get going in practice. So, first of all, hitting and throwing and really any athletic movement, there's a lot of similarities to it. In hitting, we talk about getting the slack out. We just talk about staying connected, and that's a lot of what we want to do when we're throwing the baseball too. So a lot of it comes naturally, just athletic movement to where we're, using our lower body to power everything and stabilize everything. What I see a lot of times is with the arm, things can go a little bit wrong. So right now, what we're teaching is, I think a lot of kids understand, and at this age, I'm not going to explain, you need to step with your glove side foot to throw the ball. We're not necessarily going to explain that simplistic of what we're doing. They all understand that. But one of the basic things we're doing at practice right now is we want to get to the point where basically our hands on top of the ball, and when we release the ball, we've got a motion like this. A lot of times I see really low elbows and a lot of kind of dragging the arm through. A couple reasons we don't want to do that. One, you're very inaccurate when you do that, but two, you can set your arm up for getting hurt. So especially as they get older and they're throwing harder. So we want to teach them now that we want to see this movement where their rotator cuff and their shoulders actually doing the rotation, and their arms kind of along for the ride, but this elbow's up in the air and it stays up as they release the ball. So this is a little bit exaggerated. Your arm doesn't necessarily move exactly like this when you're throwing, but we want to kind of use this as a mental understanding of throwing the ball like this. So one of the things we're doing in practice is getting this kind of internal arm rotation going as we're working into throwing the ball, so that, and this allows us to stay connected. So it's counterclockwise motion with the elbow up in the air. So we're starting really by, when we start throwing, by setting the ball on our shoulders so our elbow's up in the air, and then we throw from there. But secondly, beyond that, the next progression is to get this arm moving this way and then stepping into it and throwing and getting this motion going right here. So one, a lot of accuracy, two, a lot of power, and we ultimately want to spin the baseball off of this pointer finger, or really off of both these fingers. But in order to do that, we've got to have this motion and some pronation going to where the thumb's kind of working down as we follow through, instead of, a lot of times I see kids will get here, and when they get their arm cocked back, instead of getting this internal move going, it's just here, and then there's rotation, and it just kind of drags along. So we don't want that to happen. So anyways, we'll start by just having them put the ball on their shoulder, and then the glove side, we're always kind of reading the watch. And from there, then we're tucking the glove, we're kind of doing this move here, and we're throwing. And the reason we start with the ball on the shoulder is to keep that elbow up, and then we can throw it and keep the elbow up instead of dragging down like this. And then we'll progress into, again, still we always want to be here with our glove side, being able to read a watch on our left arm or right arm for a lefty thrower. But then we'll get into getting, elbow stays up here, and we don't want to see this going on. We want this elbow to be here and just the forearms working this way. And then that way we're getting cocked in more of this position instead of this position, which puts a lot of stress on the elbow. So then beyond that, with the right arm movement, what we want to see happen is there's always a little bit of rotation, but where things can go wrong is when there's excessive rotation this way, and then the arm gets out here, and then we're trying to kind of drag it, or you can throw it right, you can throw it left from that position. What we want to see happen is our momentum working towards where we're throwing it. So once we get this proper arm movement and we're connected here, we tuck the glove, we want to see this chest kind of stick out and start going towards wherever we're throwing it. And then from there, it's, you know, a motion to where our elbow stays up when we're using our shoulder to throw it. So all put together, it's very similar to, you know, something like that, to where we're not rotating out of it this way, but once we get here, our chest is going this way, and we can finish like this instead of getting here and we're rotating out of it, and then our arm drags. So ultimately with all that, we're trying to keep the kids safe with their arm, and then, you know, help them build stronger arms and better accuracy.